Sure.
What is your name and where do you stay?
Yeah, my name is Rajiv. I stay at Chembur in Mumbai.
Okay. What is your child's age?
She's 12.
Okay. What type of birthday party were you looking for your daughter?
Well, my daughter's 12, and all the children in the class have kind of crossed a point, okay, where they would just be looking at a birthday party, which just some simple kind of or the regular games, which are typically more kiddish. I mean, these are now tweens now and borderline teens. Her friend circle also has a strong interest in science, and my daughter is really fascinated about Harry Potter. So what we wanted to do was make it a birthday party with a very Harry Potter theme, but give it a different twist, and that's where the idea of marrying science with a Harry Potter birthday came in, wherein there will be something which the children have not experienced before, even though they might have gone to Harry Potter birthday before, and then they can probably participate in doing something and also learn from it. So that's the kind of birthday experience that my wife and I were looking for.
Okay. So before joining Scienceutsav, did you consider any other options?
Well, we considered a whole lot of options. Once we zeroed in on the Harry Potter theme, okay, along with my daughter, we explored on the internet, trying to figure out various things. Okay, there are some really elaborate ideas about Harry Potter where you can recreate a number of those scenes, a number of the kind of games around Harry Potter theme, and we've done that. So we explored those options. We explored the regular fancy dress option, and it's around that time that we came across Scienceutsav. So we did look at options, and then we zeroed in on Scienceutsav and the kind of experiments that these people showcased.
So what made you choose Scienceutsav?
Well, there were quite a few things, right? So first is we chose the idea of science before we chose Scienceutsav. We liked the idea of Scienceutsav, of taking something like science, which typically happens in classrooms and labs, and bringing it into social situations like a birthday. So we just found the entire idea a very interesting, maverick idea of how can you take science and create cool, fun experiments and fun things, okay, at a birthday. So we liked the way they kind of devised, okay, that particular idea. That's one thing which we found it to be quite unique. The second thing is when we interacted with the Scienceutsav founder, okay, he did come across as somebody, okay, who is genuinely interested in creating very nice experiences using science. So he wasn't just doing it as a business, but he's doing it because he loved science, and he had a whole lot of ideas, and he had a good knowledge about science. So that was impressive. I mean, the genuineness and commitment. The third is Harsha. He provided a variety of ideas, so we could actually pick and choose, okay, from various types of experiments. And my daughter had the opportunity also to choose through the experiments, so we had good choice. And last but not least, okay, was the fact that there was a fair amount of flexibility, wherein not only were they providing me everything. The last thing I wanted is to get somebody to come and do the science experiments, and I have to go and make arrangements for provisions, okay, such as the chemicals or the equipment, or at the birthday party, okay, they only do the experiment and not do other stuff. So they were also willing to be flexible enough to take on more responsibilities and provide the entire science experience on a turnkey basis. That will ensure that I really don't have any headaches around it.
Okay.
And then I also was a little bit concerned whether they would have the right kind of event managers or the event facilitators. And from whatever feedback I got, it looked like they had people in their team who were also passionate about science, who were going to come and run it. And I like that part, because I needed people who are knowledgeable about science, as again generally people who are masters of ceremony. Okay, so these are things which I really like.
Okay. So based on your experience, 2 good things you really liked about Scienceutsav event birthdays?
Well, as a parent, I may like many things. So first, let me have some words from the horse's mouth, from my daughter's point of view, and then I'll say some things from my perspective. I think what she and her friends really liked was that this was something which was really different, and science was presented in a very cool, fun and a relatively wow fashion, as against people just coming in and giving lectures on science. So they liked the way the experiments were presented, they liked the way they could participate, they liked the way how some of the experiments directly connected to the Harry Potter theme. For example, not exactly an experiment, but the Scienceutsav team came up with a very beautiful idea of using a sorting hat. So the entire idea of experience was designed in such a way that children would come into the birthday party, and we had 3 or 4 houses, and when they came in, they would first go through a sorting hat process, and from the sorting hat they would be given the robes, so they would really feel that they are part of the Hogwarts college. And then we will start with various themes. So that way in which children were kind of put into that state of mind of becoming Hogwarts was quite nicely done and imaginative. They also came with a nice idea that even though there are 4 houses, okay, don't keep the Gryffindor house, because that will cause a huge amount of fight, okay, amongst the kids, which I think was a useful suggestion. So my daughter would have liked to have been part of Gryffindor. Now, the experiments per se again were well conducted, and they had the Harry Potter theme. There was one experiment they did with dry ice, okay, which had this kind of ice bubble kind of thing coming on top of it, which again looked exactly like one of those Harry Potter devices. Then there were a lot of these gooey, slimy kind of elements, which typically you'll end up seeing in abundance in Harry Potter. So it connected well with the theme. The organizers again had that strong presence, and they were able to keep the attention of the kids. Remember, these are all 12-year-olds, okay, who all have a mind of their own, and were expecting 20 and 30 turned up. So I think the event was managed reasonably well despite these large numbers. And finally, children got some reasonably nice takeaways. They were given these test tubes, okay, with their experiments, or something to go and show back at home. And they were given a wand. So those takeaways again had a strong theme attached to it. So I like the way they blended science along with the theme, and finally the kids really enjoyed it. So that's both from my daughter's point of view and as well as from my standpoint. And there were no nervous problems, because even before Harsha and his team kept in touch with me. So I did not have to really keep figuring out, okay, are these guys going to turn up or not? They turned up well on time. They fully set up the entire experiments beforehand. So it was a fairly seamless and smooth experience for me, okay, all the way through.
Okay, can Scienceutsav do anything better?
Yeah, surely. I mean, there's always room for improvement, right, as you're going towards excellence. So I feel there are a few things that Scienceutsav can do better within this particular course of birthday experiences. One very clearly is to try and see, can we have more experiments which are even more wow, because there's so much more that can be done with science. For example, you could kind of put some things within nitrogen, for even like, for example, a banana, and it'll become really hard. You take a hammer and you need to break it. So that one can kind of increase the wow element, okay, of the experiment. That would be really nice. The second would probably be to see how to kind of create experience for 30 children, because this probably is really good for if you have 10-15 kids. At 30, you kind of have to have 3 or 4 different groups. It becomes a little bit of a management problem. We'll try and see how we're going to be able to manage so many children. And the third is a small suggestion from my daughter, that once you become 12 and above, you don't really want to be called kids. So she just suggested that, okay, just call everybody just people, okay, don't call them kids. And at 12 and above, perhaps given the fact that all of these guys are at the doorstep of becoming teens, okay, they could kind of make it a little less childish and slightly more teenish. But otherwise, I think it's been fantastic.
Okay. Last question from the scale of 1 to 5. How do you rate Scienceutsav for other parents, 5 being the highest?
Well, I definitely place them between 4 to 5. I mean, I'm normally a very tough rater. I don't give 5 very easily, but I would definitely place them between 4 to 5.
But still, can you give any one point?
Any one specific rating?
Sir.
Okay, I would place them 4.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.